Hello, Margaret.
Hello, Pam.
This is Margaret Roberts, and we're in Elblag in Poland, Gallery EL, and it's the 4th of September 2011. And Marg's very kindly doing this interview for us. Marg, we're all doing installation work here, and you've done an installation too, part of it of which we can see behind you. Can you tell me where you got your idea for your installation?
Originally it came from the idea came from just the photographs initially, and which, you know, to give you a sort of an idea of a space, but it's a sort of false idea as well. But nevertheless, it's the idea. It's the amazing scale of this space, and also something to do with its age, So what I'm working with are the openings in the wall that are above floor level, sort of, but not the big windows at the top, so that they're the sort of halfway points in the wall where there are holes being put into the wall. Sometimes they've been filled in at the back, but it's the idea of bringing those shapes down to the ground floor, initially thinking of it in terms of a sort of a way in which they could then have a conversation with the ground floor holes, if you like, doorways and assorted other sort of indentations which are like doorways. And when I came here and saw the space, I could see that the work, I modified it a little bit, but basically it's the same idea. So the purpose of it really is to enable people to see the space when the space is in terms of the building, the architecture, because it's amazing space. It's incredibly high, it's incredibly imposing. There's an incredible sense of time here, because you have these old bits of architecture, and then you have all these crazy new bits stuck everywhere, and the old architecture itself has got a lot of variation in time, of course. You've got all these different bits indicating different eras as well. So basically it was to try and to do something to help people to see the space.
Yeah, so when we look at pieces here, we can then look around and match up.
You could if you want to, actually.
If you wanted to.
If you're really finicky.
But it's not necessary for us to. It's just to see the shapes that have been here.
Yes, so that the shapes do come from actual shapes on the walls, and you can see there's one or two very individual ones, and you can see that's the connection, so then you can see what the rest of them are. But it's really, I also like the way in which when you place them on ground level, they then make a relationship with other space, with other gaps that are on the ground level. So it's also a little bit like a what do you say, a metaphor, or, you know, a sort of parallel thing with the way that the 10 or so artists have come together.
Oh yes, because there's 10, is there? There's 10 more?
No, there's not, there's actually 12.
There's 12, because originally we were going to be 12.
We were originally going to be 12, but that was just an accident.
Yeah, was it?
Yes, absolutely an accident.
Okay.
Because I think there were only 12 gaps at the middling sort of level. I mean, there are some other ones, but they are sort of quite close to the ground, and they're all the same. So I just left it at 12.
And you've made them white.
That's right. Okay.
Why was your choice of white?
So I made them white because, partly because when I was travelling to Gdansk, in particular, there was the old buildings there often had their windows, when seen from the outside, filled in with white, some sort of white stuff, like plaster or something, which I presume is this sort of outside of the internal renovations, perhaps. I'm not sure why they were like that, but it was something I noticed when I was here first time. And so it just made sense to make these white. And the other thing, and so then I decided to call the work black, after a lot of sort of, you know, difficulty in trying to find a name for the work. And the reason is because these are white, but the holes they left behind are black.
Ah, yes, so that makes sense.
Black and white thing, and also the black and white thing is the that difference between the physical space that's here, that's, you know, in this case in the form of the architecture, and which is one sort of space, and then there's the other sort of space, which is the space of art. And are sort of incommensurable, or they're really different. But I want both to be acknowledged, and so because I think that's the essence of site specificity. Well, it's not the only way to do it, I don't think, but that's the sort I'm interested in, where you make work that acknowledges the space, the physical space that we occupy, because that seems to me to be the purpose of site-specific work, because in a way that is going against the dominant, I guess, what's the word, tendency of autonomous art, that it ignores physical space, which I think is sort of something of a problem that I'm trying to address anyway. So
thinking of easel painting, that ignores physical space.
Yeah, that's
example.
Right. Well, most representational painting has a tradition, at least.
Yes.
There can be variations, but a tradition of being autonomous from the space, that was the big effort. People would put a big effort into making it separate from the space. It was very important, and people still do that, and that's fine. It's just that site specificity sort of came along to try and work against that.
Yes,
to try and
or with it.
Pardon?
Or with the space and
work against that tradition of autonomy, and with the space.
But with the space,
to sort of acknowledge the space.
So that's great. And also here we have also a lot of other work too. So the placement of your pieces. How do you make your final decision on?
Well, this is this is very difficult sometimes, and this is something that I think is a real issue with group shows of site-specific work, and people just go into making site. I've done it myself. You go into a group show of site-specific work, and you work out your work, and you bring it all in, and then everyone stops. The site is no longer what you saw.
Yeah, it's not a blank site anymore.
Well, it's not the original place anymore. It is the original place overlaid with the other artworks that have been brought in. So the site actually changes.
Yes.
And this is I think this is a sort of basic, if you like, problem or issue.
Challenge.
Thing about group exhibitions of site-specific work.
Yeah.
That you need to. You need to somehow be able to change your work so that it can still connect with the changing site.
Yes.
That is the big challenge, and so I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, because the work isn't entirely finished yet. But that's the challenge I'm working on today.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, thank you very much, Mark, for this interview and an insight into the work. That's really good. Okay, so have a safe flight back to Australia.
Thank you very much.
I forgot to say you were from Sydney, Australia.
Thank you very much. I hope you do too.
Thank you.